Last year, we saw a leak that indicated Modern Warfare 2 Remastered was coming from Amazon in Italy. That stirred the pot fully and everyone absolutely lost their minds. We then had multiple outlets reporting that they had heard the same information at some point and assured listeners and viewers that it would be happening. Except, it never did. It strangely just disappeared into the nothingness that many of us probably forgot all about, and that is until yesterday, because we saw another leak, but this time, not from a retailer, but instead the official rating board of Europe. And there's so many questions that then arose from this, like where did it ever go? Why the year-long silence? Why now? And also, probably most importantly to a lot of you, why campaign only? Today we're going to be discussing the Modern Warfare 2 Remastered rumors from the very beginning, and also letting you guys know everything that you need to know firstly, but also what you're probably not being told about the world of Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. So, that said, there's a lot to discuss. Let's jump right into it. Let's firstly jump back to the very beginning to get the facts straight. Let's flash back to almost 1 year ago from today, actually, that date being March 16th. Pretty close to that 1 year mark, and on that date we ended up getting our first screenshot of a COD MW2 Remastered PlayStation 4 listing that circulated around in a viral whirlwind that took over the internet within just a matter of few hours. It was listed as just that, a PlayStation 4 version of Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, listed for 20 euros, or at the time roughly 25 USD, for either a copy of PlayStation 4 or you could end up eventually getting it for Xbox One as well. So by first glance, it seemed surely that Amazon Italy dropped the ball and spilled the beans a little earlier than intended. It was set for a listed release date of April 30th, and it seemed plausible because not too long before that listing went up, Activision had an SEC filing that suggested the company planned to release remastered titles from their IP library in 2018. And yes, sure, that probably could just easily reflect and apply to, say, Spyro and a few others, but the recent release as a standalone purchase just a few months earlier of Modern Warfare Remastered, it seemed like the signs were starting to point in the direction that we could be seeing a follow-up to that remaster. A few days later, more information then came out with more intel from industry sources, one of the first ones being echoed that it was a campaign-only remaster, not developed by Raven Software, and that the listing from Amazon Italy was in fact correct, but erroneous in the fact that it shouldn't have gone up just yet. Not that any of the information was incorrect, but that it was published well before it was supposed to go up. And being that it was listed as $25, less than a full standalone price of Modern Warfare Remastered, it would fall in line that a campaign only would be plausible as a cheaper product for sale than that of a full remastered game for what we saw at the comparable price point of $40 at that time. This information was then corroborated by multiple sources close to the project and in the industry, and even through outlets like Kotaku and Eurogamer, and it seemed that we would have a campaign-only remaster on our hands despite it may not have been exactly what the community would have wanted. But that was surprisingly the end of it. Seemingly jumping headfirst into maybe a brick wall of community disapproval and fast approaching a release date, it quickly faded and we never heard any official word from Activision about it. We didn't hear anything in the relation to a trailer, a motive for remastering it. It just sort of disappeared. And then we moved over into, of course, then starting to see all the hints and teasers for Black Ops 4 that would later come out in October of that year and be our current title now, but that didn't stop the speculation mill from going on full blast. The large rumor was that it was canceled temporarily so that whoever was working on it could air quote get it right and add multiplayer to the game before they offered it as a standalone remaster. But recent information may actually discredit and contradict that theory. As of yesterday, we ended up seeing an official rating for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered for PlayStation 4 on the official PEGI site, with a rating of PEGI 18. Now, for those of you guys unfamiliar with this, I know a lot of my viewers are here from the United States or from North America, and a lot of you guys actually are from Europe and the UK as well. But for those of you guys that may not be familiar with this, PEGI is the rating board very similar to the ESRB here in North America. And so in that sense, the official rating really stands as something credible because it means that it's something that is going to be coming or is already out or already known about that finally got confirmed for a rating for it to be pushed out to shelves and for consumers to pick up. And it's very interesting because it's not a listing, it's not anything that anybody can make as a third party. It's something official, something from an official rating board, and the first of it that we see in that regard. The ESRB never put up anything about this. The rating board in Australia never put up anything on this, but instead, this now fully confirms that there is something out there called Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered. Now, at the time of when this came out, the link was actually still up. It was something you could actually click on, go check out for yourself. But currently, as of the time of you watching this, it has now been taken down, and therefore you can't go track down the official page, but it was up for enough for it to, of course, really make some waves. Now, as with the last leak talking about Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, Activision hasn't commented on this, and I really wouldn't expect them to all that much until the time when it is officially announced, which could be rather soon, given the fact that, again, the rating is finalized and it does have a release date of 2/28/2019, which was yesterday, which indicates it was just a placeholder, but certainly curious that it is almost pushed out for immediate use. So maybe we end up seeing this announced and maybe even stealth launched at some point here with this. But as with what it was last year, it almost seems crazy to come out of absolutely nowhere and have really nothing more than a name that says this is coming. So there has to be more to the story, right? What aren't we being told? Well, the most plausible theory that we have behind this is that it's just gearing up and ramping up everybody for Modern Warfare 4. That's the theory title that everybody thinks is going to be coming as of this October or November. I personally think November, but I digress. It is something that's the plausible and easy route for us to expect when talking about the upcoming game in the Call of Duty franchise. That's the easiest explanation, but what about the reasoning for no multiplayer? Why is this going to be campaign only? What's the reasoning for that? Well, I've heard a couple of different reasons actually. First thing is that it actually splits the player base. If we were to release this, even say at the lowest point in Black Ops 4, which is probably right around that June or July period, maybe a little bit further as well, that's when you could theoretically drop something, get players hyped up for the next title in their own right, but also not necessarily release the game that early. That's something that even at the best case scenario of taking away the least amount of players from Black Ops 4 would still do so. You'd end up splitting your player base willingly, and that was something that throughout the past couple of years since it happened, I'd heard whispers that Activision wasn't pleased with Modern Warfare Remastered in the sense of the schism that it created. You had a small subset of the players on either one of the games at the time, and it didn't really bolster the same numbers as it would have if it was a unified front where everybody was playing the same game. So in that sense, even at the lowest period, it still removes the possibility of having that happen. And sure, I'm not saying that that's ideal for anybody. Modern Warfare 2 is probably some of the most iconic MP out there, and I would love to play it again, but I do think that's part of the reasoning as to why it's not being remastered with MP, or so we're told it's not being remastered with MP. The other thing that I've heard is honestly a lot more boring and legal of a standpoint than that of just something exciting about the game itself. What I've heard whispers of, and this may be completely wrong, but I've heard multiple people talk about this that would stake their reputation, is that it comes down to contractual obligations between Activision and Call of Duty, as well as Sony. As you guys know, Sony has the exclusive rights for content, i.e. why you see a week delay within Black Ops 4 between Xbox One and PC getting the content after PlayStation 4 users do. And that's been something that's been going on for the past couple of years, since Black Ops 3 actually. And so the Modern Warfare Remastered exclusive rights actually still applied at that point. If you guys remember, Campaign was actually available for PlayStation 4 users a month early, and then come launch, that's when everybody got everything. So those sort of exclusive rights, that's what's in question here. Apparently the contract at hand requires 2 more titles of exclusivity for remasters, in which that could presumably just be Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 Remastered, and easily could be that roadmap leading up to Modern Warfare 4 come this fall. And coming back to that note that apparently Activision didn't really like the schism that it created, instead of releasing Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 with Modern Warfare 4 theoretically as full remasters, well, it might be a contractual loophole that these campaigns actually get them out of that 2 more required remasters without having to split the player base. So while it might not be the best idea from a player's perspective because they want to relive multiplayer for MW2 or MW3, perhaps in the long run it's for the better that we don't have that exclusivity anymore tied to those things. Now, as far as absolutely how true that is or how much of it may be slightly skewed, your guess is as good as mine, but for reference, the Woo Lads I think even echoed this message, if I remember correctly, a few months back, in which their word has a lot of weight and merit as well, and I'm almost certain they heard it from different sources, so to be able to corroborate that sort of story, the message definitely still remains. And the question now comes down to, though, will there ever be MP for Modern Warfare 2 Remastered? If that's the case, if they are releasing it initially as campaign only, well, I mean, Certainly it's possible. I definitely don't expect it at first, but I also am not getting my hopes up for it later down the line because of that schism that it would create in the player base. If you say theoretically release Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 Remastered campaign only in the summer or maybe even middle of the spring, then you end up having that period of time where players will play the campaign and then get ready for MW4 theoretically again in the fall. But if you release MP at any point before that, you really start to cut into the potential even sales of a Modern Warfare 4 to begin with. If people are reliving the glory days of MW2 and MP, well, from a business perspective, unless you can top that with MW4, you're putting yourself willingly in danger there. And the final thing I want to talk about and discuss a little bit is, well, where did it go from last year? If it's the same thing that we saw from last year from that Amazon Italy listing, where did it go? Why did it go AFK and radio silent for almost an entire year? Now, this is based off of whispers that I've again heard around, and it has been echoed by others in the industry, and it might be a cop-out answer for some people, and therefore I don't know if people would really like the idea of this being it, but from what I've heard, it does make sense. The reasoning being simply, it was the political climate. It wasn't the right time to release the game. 2018, if you guys remember, was an absolute hotbed of a debate for the place of guns, and with a mission in MW2 that is no Russian, it surely would stir the pot to the point of overflow, and from a simple PR perspective, the #1 rule is to never put yourself in compromising situations. And given the timing of when it was supposed to release, I can't even imagine the outrage that would have happened, and it's still going to be something of a hot topic of debate, even today. So with the theoretical Modern Warfare 4 on the horizon, Remaster still possibly being owed and a timetable to keep, it may inevitably be released, and possibly even with that mission removed. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we end up going into MW2's campaign and it's a simple cutscene explaining the aftermath of how Joseph Allen was a plant and framed for the mass execution in the form of a news broadcast or something similar. I would not be surprised if that happens. But that's the heavy rumor as to why we didn't get this last year and theoretically MW3 Remastered around this time this year. But that said, talking about MW3 Remastered, I definitely think there will be an MW3 Remastered coming in the near future, because it'd just simply be a way to finish out again that contractual obligation that may be in place, and also lead right up into MW4 to let players know everything that's going on in the universe of the Modern Warfare world. But that said, I think we're going to wrap up the discussion here about this. It was something that as of yesterday, late last night, whenever this first came out, a lot of people were kind of in shock that it hadn't really changed since last year's rumor, and they were also kind of like, wow, I almost completely forgot about that. So I wanted to try and clear the air a little bit here as to why we might be seeing this and why it would actually make sense in some regard just to have campaign only, even if it's not something that myself included would want to see. I would absolutely love to see fully MW2 Remastered. Do not get me wrong in that sense, but kind of just explaining a little bit of what may actually be the back-end workings of this. Hopefully it provided some clarity. So that said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you guys think of this here? Are you guys thinking this is some sort of way to get out of a contract? Are you guys looking forward to seeing the setup of Modern Warfare 4 via remasters of the campaign in MW2 and MW3? Whatever it may be, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Call of Duty. Theoretically, MW4 coming out later this year. Black Ops 4, MP, Blackout, Zombies. We got you covered for the best of updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. Well, that's it. Now, thank you guys all so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.